What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. I'd just like to let everybody know that both Trump and Biden are rigging the primaries. So if you're pretty disgusted by our choices in 2020, just so you know, it's probably going to happen again. Well, it almost definitely will happen again, but you probably knew that, I'm assuming. But just in case it wasn't already confirmed, it's confirmed this time because both, not just Trump, but Biden as well, are deciding that the primaries don't matter. The will of the people don't matter. It's whatever they want. They're running their own party, they're running the convention, they're part of the establishment, so it doesn't matter. Your voice doesn't matter. Let me explain to you how this is happening, because you're probably thinking to yourself, like, what? Like, how does one rig a primary? Well, they're very clever with this, but the reason that they're doing it is what you would expect. It's very obvious. Let me explain. Let me talk about Trump first, because Trump is actually in a competitive primary right now. Biden is not as much. I mean, it's getting a little bit competitive with RFK and whatnot. I'll talk about that in a moment, though. So Trump obviously has a pretty substantial lead over DeSantis. He's all but sewn up the nomination, I'd say, assuming that he's going to do very well in the debates and that everybody, well, it seems like the Republican voters are all centering around him right now. They're all rallying behind him, and they want him to be the nominee. That's what it looks like right now. So he's got this thing all but wrapped up. All he needs to do is wait. But no, that's not enough. And since he believes that he can win, or that he has such an insurmountable lead, he doesn't even need to try. He doesn't even need to participate in the debates. So assuming he's not even going to participate in the debates. Now listen, I don't believe, or I'm not sure, I'm sort of going back and forth on this. I don't know if it should be mandatory for a presidential candidate to have to debate, but the more I think about how ridiculous it is that he's not debating and that Biden's not debating, like I said, I'll get to him, it makes me want to force them into a debate more and more, because I want to see those two on stage, and people should be able to see both these candidates in a competitive environment so they can make an informed decision. I mean, this is how we've done, presidential elections and primaries for decades now. Furthermore, he's not just refusing to participate in debates, he is actually trying to hold primaries in the least competitive states, the ones that are most favorable to him. I found out about an article. I'm going to read it to you guys, just so you get an idea of what's going on right now. Several states adopted Trump-friendly rules in 2020 to ward off competition for the then-president, and recent change in Michigan appears to have bolstered his advantage in the race to secure delegates who determine the party's nominees. So, modifications. In half a dozen, so 6 states, we will work with state parties all across the country to engage in this process. So, just so you know, the primaries are going to be rigged for the Republican Party, and Trump is now guaranteed, and I'm using this word, I'm not saying he's like definitely going to win, but when the party establishment tries to rig the primary, it's very unlikely that he's going to have any competition. Now on to Biden. Biden has also said he's not going to take part in any of the debates, and he's also doing the exact same thing Trump is as well. I mean, one, he doesn't want to get on that stage with RFK because he knows he's going to get his ass whooped. Same with, metaphorically speaking, and with Williamson. RFK could certainly whoop his ass. I mean, have you seen that dude? Bench pressing. I mean, conservatives were going crazy. They're like, oh, he's ripped and everything. He's crazy. So that, and metaphorically speaking, he would not have a great debate performance against him. And same with Williamson. She would probably put him in his place as well. So, of course, Biden's going to hide in the corner. But Biden is also choosing to rig the primaries by going with the South Carolina primary first. Now, if you guys recall, a few years ago, Biden was doing very poorly in the primary, and all of a sudden South Carolina came up. He was endorsed by James Clyburn, who is, I think I don't know if he's a senator or not. He's some political figure, but from South Carolina, and that, told voters like, wow, you should go out and vote for this guy, and they did. He won the South Carolina primary, and that helped boost him to a big victory in Super Tuesday. And then Biden had all the momentum, and he won the primary. And of course, he became the nominee and is now in the White House. So James Clyburn pretty much saved his ass and helped put him in the White House. So Biden's going to do that again. He's going to say to officials, he's like, listen, can we organize this and get the South Carolina primary up? And of course, they're going to be like, yeah, sure, why not? Because again, he's the establishment. Because if you remember, all the entire establishment got behind him just so they can prevent Bernie from getting the nomination. This is what happened right before Super Tuesday. That's why he won states like Minnesota, Massachusetts, because everybody got behind him. So Trump and Biden are doing the exact same thing, but Biden's got the extra factor of the media. Trump, he's got Fox News, he's got, a few other media sources, but like the main media complex is the sort of the corporate Democratic establishment. So they'll ignore the progressive wing, but of course they're going to back up the entire Democratic Party who's not part of that progressive wing. And Biden is one of those people. So of course they're doing everything they can to ignore the fact that he's even got I made a video about this. It completely ignored the fact that he's got any contenders whatsoever. They will say that RFK is spreading misinformation. They haven't invited Marianne Williamson on to any news networks. Only Fox News has, and that was so she could, trash Biden, because of course Fox News doesn't like Biden. And that's what's going on right now. The exact thing that the media did in 2020 is what they're doing again. That's why Biden hasn't left his basement. And every time he does, he wanders all over his yard, not knowing where he's going. I mean, have you seen the guy? He doesn't know his own house, because they have to keep him in the basement, because God forbid he ends up on screen. His entire re-election launch ad, he didn't even appear on camera for more than a few seconds. It was just a voiceover. They can't let him out of the basement, God forbid, because God knows what will happen to him on stage. So this is just an update to let you guys know that, yeah, the primaries are going to be rigged again, and there's nothing we can do about it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have plenty more video ideas I'm going to be coming out with soon, so stay tuned for those, and I'll see you later.